From the Ministry of the Presidency in Georgetown, this is This Week with the President.
Welcome to this week's edition of This Week with the President, a weekly program which provides an in-depth look at the policies, programs and work of the President of Ghana in his quest to realize the good life for all Guyanese. I'm your host, Gomati Gangadin. Thank you for joining us. In the highlights this week, transparency and accountability at forefront as Public Procurement Commission is sworn in. President Granger tells New Amsterdam Council to lead Guyana's green development agenda. President's College receives $1 million for investment in sciences. Berbice High School urged to aim for higher education. These stories and more are This Week with the President. Stay with us. Transparency and accountability have been two of the top priorities of the David Granger administration since their assumption to office in May 2015. Since taking office, President David Granger has been pushing several systems to ensure that the nation's business is handled with care, with accountability, and in a transparent manner.
I'm interested, of course, as head of government in good governance, accountability, and transparency. We accept that corruption is corrosive because it weakens the enforcement of the law. It weakens our democratic values. It weakens accountability and transparency. It weakens public trust in government and the institutions of government. But corruption largely discriminates against the poor, and it favors the rich. It removes resources from the government or from agencies which should be directed towards improving the quality of life. And what should be a public good is diverted into private gain. The practice of good governance, transparency, and accountability are more than the antidote for corruption in government. They are also a remedy for ridding the disease of corruption in the private sector, in professional organizations, in civil society, and also in international organizations.
Chief among these systems has been the Public Procurement Commission, which acts as the watchdog in the handling and awarding of contracts, and despite early tensions in the administration's lobbying efforts and push towards the setting up of the commission, also resulted in one of the few areas of consensus with a contentious opposition. For the members to be sworn in, 2/3 of the National Assembly must be in approval. Both the government and the opposition are required to nominate individuals to serve on the commission. On Thursday, President Granger swore in the members of the Public Procurement Commission with the charge that they must remain independent, impartial and fair at all times in the execution of their duties. The head of state said that the Constitution of the land mandates that a Public Procurement Commission be established. The Constitution, he noted, is sacrosanct, and its provisions, therefore, must be observed and applied meticulously.
The Constitution provides, as has been quoted before, there shall be a Public Procurement Commission, the purpose of which is to monitor public procurement and the procedure, therefore, in order to ensure that the procurement of goods and services and the execution of works are conducted in a fair, equitable, transparent, competitive, and cost-effective manner, according to law, and such policy guidelines as may be determined by the National Assembly.
The President said that the Public Accounts Committee of the National Assembly was responsible for the selection of the members of this commission, and this bipartisan process of selection is a demonstration that, however intractable political differences might seem, the basis for political agreement and consensus on matters of national interest should always be sought.
The government of Guyana iterates its commitment to the principles of accountability and transparency in the conduct of public business. The establishment of the Commission evinces the importance of ensuring equity and fairness in public procurement. I congratulate you, the members of the Public Procurement Commission, and urge you all to be faithful to the oath you have just sworn. I charge you with upholding the constitutional duty of the Commission in being independent, impartial, and fair.
Meanwhile, Vice President and Minister of Public Security, Mr. Kemraj Ramjatan, in an invited comment, said that it is a happy day for the government and the people of Guyana, since the Public Procurement Commission is one of the campaign promises of the coalition government. After more than a decade of being inactive, the minister said that it is an accomplishment to be able to have the commission up and running.
I think I shed a tear too, of happiness, that is, because this was one of my biggest lobbying points in relation to getting accountabilities and transparencies proper in this country. And I am so proud that it has happened in the first half of our term, after waiting more than a decade.
This establishment of the Commission will now clear the way for the approval of the award of contracts to be handled by that body instead of the Cabinet. Minister Ramjatan said that this will ensure that there is more transparency and accountability to the Guyanese public.
I am also happy now knowing and being in government that the decisions in relation to contract will have to be made by this body rather than Cabinet. Because contract awarding, in my view, is an occupational hazard for a minister. And for the members here now to get that opportunity to make their selections and to make their choices as to who should be awarded, it is going to be a challenge. But I think being that established body now, they are going to have the experience, they're going to get it done through training processes and the experience that they have. And it will be a big, big plus for governance in this country.
Mr. Nanda Gopal, a nominee of the opposition, in an invited comment said that he is happy with the confidence which has been reposed in him and the other members of the Commission by the Parliament and the government as a whole. He noted that the Commission will work to ensure that its integrity and the interests of the Guyanese people are priorities in every decision that is taken. In addition to the Public Procurement Commission, the government will be pursuing the amendment of the Integrity Commission Act, which will now pave the way for a review of the Code of Conduct for ministers and other officials in an effort to reduce corruption and promote transparency and accountability. The achievement of a green economy is a goal which forms a major part of President David Granger's vision for the development of the country. But the president has said that this goal can only be achieved through a concerted effort. Transforming Guyana into a green state must therefore begin within the municipalities, and President Granger has since commended the mayors throughout the country for so embracing the mission of going green within their towns. At the launch of New Amsterdam's Tongue Week celebrations in the East Berbice Quarantine Region 6 region, President Granger said that every tongue should be green and that citizens should participate in ensuring that the biodiversity is protected, as the country's rich flora and fauna are far more valuable to Guyanese alive rather than dead. Moreover, he called on the concerted effort of all stakeholders to participate in the decision-making process so that their combined efforts can contribute to a better environment.
Involve other persons, different political parties, from the business community, non-governmental organizations, in a consensual, cooperative and collaborative way so that together you move the tongue forward. No point fighting them down. No point making life unhappy and unpleasant for you and the residents. Find ways of working together, and you'll see that your tongue and your residents will benefit.
The president pointed out the potential of Region 6, highlighting the advantage it holds by being in direct proximity to the CARICOM state of Suriname. He encouraged residents to take more advantage of exporting products, as Guyana has the resources to provide goods on a larger scale than other countries in the region.
I want to see New Amsterdam as the economic driver of this region, a dynamo. You have the potential. You have the ability to attract investors. People want to know there is a clean and stable city. It is well administered, and the money will come.
Since local government elections, the tongue of New Amsterdam has seen significant improvements, and Regional Chairman Mr. David Armagon congratulated the New Amsterdam Mayor and Town Council for the work that has so far been done. But Mr. Armagon urged that the citizens not only depend on the municipality, but also contribute to the developments for the good of their town.
We in this place believe in the system of dependency. The time has come for us to become independent. We cannot continue to depend 100% on the mayor and town council to deliver all the things that we desire. We have to do certain things for ourselves.
Mayor of New Amsterdam, Mr. Kurt Winter, said that with hard work and vision, New Amsterdam has the potential to become a vibrant city. He also spoke of the municipality's plans to modernize the town, which includes the construction of a green boulevard. This would essentially be a park complete with amenities such as free Wi-Fi, where families and school children can come to relax and do research. Guyana's head of state has been consistent in advocating for and developing policy positions to ensure universal access to education in Guyana. He believes that education is the tool which can be used to reverse the cycle of poverty, develop communities, and transform regions into economic hubs. This can be clearly seen in his Boats, Buses, Bicycles, Breakfast and Books program, or 5Bs initiative, which is aimed at ensuring that every child is given the opportunity to get to school and stay in school. But more than that, it is difficult and in some cases impossible to carry out day-to-day activities without the use of technology in this 21st century era. Technology is particularly crucial in the education system since it is already revolutionizing classrooms elsewhere in the world. It is against this background that President Granger on Thursday evening handed over $1 million to the President's College at its 26th graduation exercise to boost the school's science and technology facilities, even as he noted that science-based education can lead to the development of the country. This comes almost a month after he made a similar contribution to the Berbice High School, whose graduation exercise he also attended during the last week. In his address to the graduates, parents, teachers, and officials, the head of state said that President's College has already acquired a proud reputation and history with lofty traditions. Part of that tradition, he said, is the college's special character as one of distinction, which is spelled out in its act. The act speaks to the promotion of the sciences and the arts, and it is for this reason that he has decided to make the donation, he said.
We belong to a school that over the last 30 years has built a proud reputation, built proud traditions. You know very well that this college was conceived in 1983, and it opened its doors in 1985. But it has a special character, it has a special act. And if I can quote from that act, I'm sure you all have it over your bed heads in your dormitories. The aims of the college are to provide a place of education, learning and research of a standard required and expected of a secondary school of the highest standard, and to promote the advancement of knowledge and the diffusion and extension of art, science, and technology. And that little check I gave your headmistress is for science.
Noting that the college graduation is an event of mixed emotions, President Granger told the students that the college is now their alma mater and they must now be perpetually proud of that privilege. The head of state also advised the students that as they embark on different journeys now that they have completed the first step of a secondary education, they will take with them 5 core skills, which will greatly help in their pursuits.
The first is communication, and we saw that on display. Communication skills are needed if you are to keep in touch at the personal, social, Facebook, and other levels. Don't go on Facebook during election campaigns. But that's another matter because we've got one going on now, and you can't see the news without seeing one of the 2 candidates on the news. But you've learned those communication skills. You've also learned numeracy skills, because you need numeracy in everyday life. You need to be comfortable with numbers, comfortable with graphs, symbols, with diagrams. You need information and communication technology skills in order to process information quickly and usefully. You need to solve problems at the personal, social, and vocational, and also the occupational level. And Dr. Uppenrein and I went to what was then a boys' school. So we didn't have the opportunity to practice our problem-solving skills. We had to ride halfway across town to discover that somebody got there before you. But you have that on campus right there at Golden Grove South. And you learn to deal with these personal and social problems, which will stand you in good stead when you take up an occupation. And you have to learn to work with others.
More importantly, however, he cautioned the students to adhere to the values that they would have cultivated, the 5 most important of which are duty, discipline, identity, integrity, and loyalty. These traits, he said, must go with them as they embark on their adventures, and at no time must they be thrown aside for the world.
But you also need values, and I'll just leave those 5 values with you. The first value is the value of duty. And as students, you've learned that whatever difficulties you face, you still have to study. You still have to display the dedication which you need to fulfill your obligation to the college. And the second value is discipline. Again, Dr. Uppenrein and I looked carefully to see whether everybody would obey the teacher when he said, "Do not throw your mortarboards in the air." And that impressed us deeply. You've been taught to obey the college rules. You've been taught to obey your teacher. And you're right there. Because you have displayed that identity of belonging to a place called President's College. And be proud of it. Be proud of your college. You've had some difficulties, and I tried to speak with your headmistress to resolve some of those problems from time to time. But your identity as graduates of this college is something that is indelible. And I'm proud to see your alumni turning back to help the college. And that's the way it must be. Your parents made sacrifices to bring you here. And you too must make sacrifices to help others to come to this college. The 4th value I leave with you is the value of integrity. Well, by now you should know that if you cheat, you'll probably get thrown out. And this is one value that you should take into your later life, even if you're a lawyer. And finally, loyalty.
At the Berbice High School's graduation held last Thursday, President Granger echoed similar sentiments while he urged graduates of the class of 2016 to aim for higher education, particularly in disciplines of agriculture, environmental science, and information technology, to ensure they are well positioned to make meaningful contributions to the development of a green Guyana. President Granger lauded the head teacher and staff of the school, which is the top secondary institution in the East Berbice-Corentyne Region 6 area, and which moved up to the position of 5th in the country this year from 7th in 2015. Speaking of the school's motto, Carpe Diem, the president reminded the graduates that completing secondary school should not be the end of the road, as he urged them to seize every available opportunity for higher learning.
I want to congratulate you on the step that you've taken. A new chapter is about to unfold in your lives. New opportunities are about to be opened. New pathways must lie ahead. And your education here at Berbice High School has prepared you for all of those opportunities.
Meanwhile, Ms. Latoya Roberts, who recently graduated from the U Wooding Law School in Trinidad and Tobago as the best graduating Guyanese student, in her charge to the President's college graduates, urged them to become ambassadors of change for their country and the wider world.
I dare you to be a change. I dare you to love. I dare you to laugh. I dare you to understand. I dare you to extend the same principles and the same teachings and the same kindness and the same care that you expect to be the recipients of to everyone that you come into contact with. I dare you to be humble. We live in a world where too many chests are puffed up. Men and women believe they have arrived when they would have achieved the simplest of things, maybe to see a certificate. Maybe you are the valedictorian. Maybe you are a minister. Maybe you are a rich man. That says nothing. Rather, your character and your qualities as a human being is what is important. Graduates of 2016, you must determine to be more than your professions, more than the services you will offer in the future. Rather, you must endeavor to be instruments of change. Thirdly, once you have determined who you wish to become, you must also purpose to put in the dedicated effort needed to make that dream a reality.
Mr. Kamarul Hokamchan, President's College's valedictorian, and Berbice High School's top CXC student, Jose Cummings, were both presented with several gifts, a laptop, $20,000, a shield, and the President's Certificate of Excellence by President David Granger. Now we take a look at the President's diary. President David Granger on Sunday joined the congregation of the Ebenezer Lutheran Church in New Amsterdam, East Berbice-Corentyne, to celebrate the quincentenary of the Lutheran Church in the world, or Reformation Sunday. In extending congratulations to the leaders and members of the church, the president said that the church must be commended for its continuity of its work in Guyana, including its work in educating the nation's children.
Today, I understand there are over 14 parishes and more than 50 congregations in Demerara and Berbice. On behalf of the government of Guyana, I wish to extend congratulations to the Evangelical Lutheran Church, not only for its longevity, but also for the continuity of its work in our country, including its work in educating our children over the years.
On Friday evening, the President attended the National Assembly of the Parliament of Guyana's afternoon of reflection and celebration of Ghana's 50th independence anniversary, which was held on the forecourt of the public buildings. Invitees were entertained with the recitation of poems, musical renditions, modern dance, and other special items, which speak to the Guyanese history and diversity. In addition, 5 persons who served in the first and second Parliament were present at the ceremony and were honored by the National Assembly. Outgoing Ambassador of Sweden to Guyana, Mr. Claes Hammer, on Wednesday morning paid a farewell visit to President David Granger at the Ministry of the Presidency. During the meeting, several areas, including the government's advocacy for a green economy, renewable energy, climate and environment, and the ongoing Guyana-Venezuela border controversy, were discussed. That same day, the President delighted the Essequibo triplets, Ms. Radha, Ms. Rajshri, and Ms. Renika Mansaram, on the occasion of their 22nd birthday at his office at the Ministry of the Presidency. After presenting them with bouquets and a gift each, President Granger told the young women that it is members of the young generation like themselves that continues to inspire his government to create a better country and a better life for the citizens. Military Commander of the North of the Brazilian Armed Forces, General Carlos Alberto Nieva Barcelos, paid a courtesy call on President David Granger on Wednesday morning at the Ministry of the Presidency. General Barcelos was accompanied by Chief of Staff of the Ghana Defense Force, Brigadier George Lewis, Brazilian Ambassador to Ghana, Mr. Lino Pupo de Paula, Colonel Oswaldo Benedito Romao da Silva, and Colonel Emerson da Silva, both of the Brazilian Army, and Major Mir Khan of the GDF. During the meeting, several areas relating to security and territorial integrity, as well as the existing areas of cooperation between the two countries, were discussed. The Hindu festival of Diwali, or the Festival of Lights, is one which invites us to celebrate the triumph of good over evil, and our nation joined in the celebration of this victory on the official observance on Saturday, October 29. In honor of this occasion, President David Granger attended the Indian Commemoration Trust Diwali program, which was held at the Indian Monument Gardens last Friday evening. The President participated in the celebrations by lighting the symbolic diya to usher in the observance of the Festival of Lights. The event was decorated by cultural performances showcasing our rich Indian heritage and depicting the story of Diwali. The President was accompanied at this event by Prime Minister Mr. Moses Nagamutu and several ministers of the government. With that, we have come to the end of this week's edition of This Week with the President. Thank you for joining me. For regular updates on the Ministry of the Presidency, go to our website at www.motp.gov.gy, like our Facebook page, Ministry of the Presidency, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at MOTP Guyana. Do have a safe and productive rest of the week. Goodbye, Guyana.